So we just got on the road. We're gonna head out, gas up, and then the trip to Edmonton. So now that we've gotten on the road, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody in Cold Lake. So a thank you to my family that is not blood related and blood related. We started off as friends and became family along the way, and I wanted to thank you. I want to thank everybody that I met at the Cold Lake High School, so friends, teachers, everybody in Cold Lake has taught me so much. And without you guys, I definitely wouldn't be the woman that I am now. It's been a long 7 years, but it's been a great 7 years. And I definitely want to keep in touch with everybody. So my new number is 204-596-3626. So if anybody wants to hit me up and message, that's the number. And I really wanted to thank you guys so much. We have officially been on the road for 20 minutes. That means 2 hours and 40 minutes left until we get to Edmonton, roughly, because we got to make a gas stop and smoke stop, shit like that. And yeah, these are the two humans we're traveling with today. Yeah? I'm reading. That's all you're going to say is yeah?
I'm reading, I didn't hear it.
Mason, you have to have a personality for these goddamn videos.
Yes, exactly! Tyler gets it.
I told her I didn't need one.
How is she going to get famous on YouTube?
By vlogging. I mean, I already have a YouTube channel. It's just me reviewing books and movies and music.
Life lessons.
Oh, no. That was Facebook and I was 13.
Oh, we can upload those though.
No, we're not going to upload those.
Oh, come on.
No.
Some comedy on your channel.
Yeah, no. I'm not putting 13-year-old me and my stupid little shitty life lessons that everybody should know up on Facebook.
There you go.
But yeah, no, so we've at least started the drive, and yeah, we just passed Bonnyville.
No.
We're coming up to Bonnyville.
Whatever, we're coming into Bonnyville. We passed the sign for Bonnyville, okay?
Get facts straight, Jesus.
Oh my God, if I have to deal with this for the next 2.5 hours, I think I'm just gonna jump out of the moving vehicle and say, fuck the move. Alright, so we just passed Wasetna, which is like the 3/4 way mark. We are expected to get into Edmonton at about 5:53 according to Google Maps and the ETA. Stopped to get some snacks because, well, road snacks are key. And yeah, that's what's happening right now. So, yeah. Righty, so we are just pulling into Edmonton now. It's about another 30 kilometers until we get to the rail station, where we check in our bags and everything, and then once it takes off at 10 to 8 p.m., we are going to spend a whole 20 and a half hours on the train before we get into Rivers, Manitoba at 5:22 p.m. tomorrow. So that's going to be great.
I'm just scrolling down my library.
An hour ago, apparently we're not supposed to board until like 9:30. But yeah, we made it to the station, and once we get on, it's about 20 and a half hours, give or take, because the train goes super slowly. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But 20 and a half hours, plus possibly another 2.5 hours of waiting to get on. So we got on the train super late last night. It was supposed to get here at about 10 to 8, and we only got on at like 1:45 to midnight. And as soon as we got on, we basically fell almost directly asleep. It is 8:58 now, so basically 9 o'clock, and we're supposed to get in at about 4:22, 5:22 or so, but with possible 3-hour delay, it's probably going to be more about 7, 8 o'clock. But yeah, we've been on the train for a little bit now, and we slept the first chunk of it, so the rest is just going to be probably just sitting back and, waiting to get there. But yes, that's the next little part.
Yep.
Yeah. After a long, very long train ride and a couple breaks here and there for smokes because people were getting off, we made it to Rivers about an hour ago, and we drove home, and now we have made it to Brandon, Manitoba. So it was a long trip. I didn't record all of it like I'd planned, but that's because there were other people on the train. I was being respectful, and I also slept quite a bit. So yeah, basically we made it here. We're set to go, and I'm probably going to edit all the little videos I took together, and whatever comes out of it is the final result. So after taking a little bit of time to have some dinner and relax and get everything set up, we're finally here and in bed, just waiting to cool down. Got some tapestries and stuff put up so it's a little bit more homey and not just spare room feeling. But yeah, no, it wasn't too long of a train ride. It was long, but it didn't feel long because I slept quite a bit. Not really as pretty as I'd hoped from my last time, but that's because we took it in the early spring when everything is deciding to melt and not be dead anymore and be dead. But it was still really nice. We got to see a lot of stuff. I got to meet some really cool people. A really nice woman who works for a candle company called Gold Canyon, who's got like great quality candles. And we talked with her while we were waiting. Well, I talked with her while we were waiting to get on the train, and a bit when we were on the train, a bit before she got off. And we met another guy who came on who was heading to Winnipeg. He got on in Melville, which was the stop right before ours, and we had two gentlemen sitting in the seats across the aisle from us that had been on since we got on in Edmonton, and they were pretty fun to talk to. So we didn't do what would be like the typical teenage thing of just sitting on, phones with headphones in, watching TV shows and stuff. We did do that to pass some time, but for the most part, we just had a lot of really nice conversations with some really cool people. And though it wasn't as pretty as I'd hoped, I do recommend always to take a train at least some point in your life, because though you deal with lateness and behind schedule, stuff like that, it's not really good if you've got something to go to directly the next day. But if you've got a little bit of a flexible schedule with it, I definitely recommend taking the train, because some of the stuff you get to see, some of the people you get to meet, it's indescribable. And I don't know, how'd you feel about it?
Long, tired, and the screaming kid was not fun.
Oh yeah, there was a screaming kid. He was screaming bloody murder, waiting to get on the train. And then he was screaming while we were on the train. And luckily, we both had headphones, so we fell asleep, and we didn't really have to hear it. And I'm pretty sure he fell asleep too, because it was like almost midnight by the time we got on the train. So I understand. The kid was just tired. But then it continued the next morning, and even the attendant, she gave him an incentive of, if he behaved, he'd get a treat or whatever. But he was screaming a lot. People were complaining, and I'm pretty sure the attendants were like this close to kicking the family off the train, because this kid was being so disruptive. It was really hard to deal with at some points, but like others, it wasn't. Like, I could be listening to my music full blast, full rock, and I could still hear this child screaming. And of course, when I took my headphones off to watch him get kicked off the train, because they were at that point, they were getting there, he decided to calm down and not be such a little terror. But yeah, no, Mason's got through most of his book now. He basically started to continue it in Edmonton, and he's almost done now. And we're here, and got picked up by Bonnie, my dad, and my sister, and came home, had some food, and just basically relaxed, you know. It was a long trip. Some parts made it felt like it was forever, but other parts felt like they went by really quickly, and I think half of that was the people that we were talking to, because when you meet new people, you're not really, time's not going as slow as it feels because you're having a conversation and getting to know somebody. So yeah, that was our trip, and it was a really good trip. The drive the drive to Edmonton was really fun with one of my best friends, Tyler, and we had a lot of fun jamming out, picking on each other, as we do. Getting there, Tyler hung out with us for a little bit, not obviously staying until we got on the train because that would have taken forever, and he had a 3-hour drive home, but it was hard saying goodbye because he was the last person from Cold Lake that I saw, and it was emotional. But then again, what big move isn't, you know? But yeah, so that was our moving experience, and well, our physical moving experience. But we'll have to go back in a few weeks to Cold Lake, probably a month or so, give or take, to get all of our actual stuff, not just what we could shove into a couple suitcases and carry-ons. But I don't think I'm gonna record that just because it's a moving stuff thing. But yeah, so that was our trip, and thanks to whoever watches this, because that means even though you weren't physically there with us, you got to watch the process of, well, certain parts that I could videotape at, because I wasn't going to videotape on the train once we got on, because a lot of people were sleeping, and there were a lot of judgy people, it felt like, on the train. Not obviously the people that we were with, thank God, because they were really awesome. But there seemed to be a handful of others scattered around the train that were kind of judgy, and I didn't want to cause any more issues, especially with that kid. So so I recorded when I could, and I couldn't record as soon as we got off the train because I knew that my sister was going to make a comment, and I'd just been sitting on a train for however long it was, and I wasn't ready to deal with that. So I recorded the last part when I could like get upstairs into the room alone so that I didn't have to deal with it. But yeah, no, it was really good, and it went by relatively quickly in some parts, but that's just what I think. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a good trip, and I'm glad that we're here, and we did a good job on the road.
There we go. The words of Mason have been spoken. All right. Have a good night, everybody.